Hello and welcome to another episode of Raisu Reviews. It's been a little bit since the monthly recap, but wanted to get some more videos out. It's just been a bit busy with life recently. Today I was kind of just wanted to talk about kind of getting to know me, maybe what kind of figures I like. I'm going to talk about Holy Grails, some figures that I had like pre-ordered in the past, but maybe they used to be Holy Grails, or I canceled them, or you just never, misconnection, as they say. And also talk about some characters who I really wish would get better figures. They might have had figures in the past, but to be honest, going through this video, I went back to my figure collection and looked at my wish list, and figures have just kind of gotten better over the years. That's definitely the older figures in my collection don't look too good hanging out with the new figures in my collection. Some things just do get better with time, and the figures definitely gotten better. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about some old figures that I liked or I liked at the time, and I still want to this day. But anyways, so yeah, we're going to start with Shima Rin. This is one of the, I don't want to quote, I didn't do a lot of research on all the years these things came out, but I think this was one of the first Rin figures. So whenever that came out, 2018, maybe, let's say. But yeah, it's a 1/10, so it's a tiny figure by today's standards. And there's that right now. There's that Furyu scale, which has Nadeshiko, that also has a scooter, but I don't quite like how Rin looks in it because it's more based on the season 3 design. But yeah, this classic 1/10 alter Rin with a scooter, I've always wanted it. It's always been extremely expensive. I can probably find it for a better price than on Solaris if I really did some digging, but a 1/10 for this price is just not worth it. And I've heard a lot of people who bought this figure, they kind of thought it was not a 1/10, and they ended up being surprised that it was so small. But I really do hope one day that nope, that does not zoom in at all. This figure gets a re-release or something with maybe, I can kind of tell that Rin's face and hair is not too great just from that small image, but I just love the design of the scooter in this one and how it's like packed. Something about Rin and her scooter is very like cathartic to me, and it would just be a figure. Like, I do have Rin figures I like I have the one with her sitting on the camping chair, but that I really like, and I have one that I don't like as much, but we'll get to that in a different video. But yeah, the Rin Alter 1/10 scooter, classic. Okay, next we have this Yomu from Toho Project, also on Solaris. So these ones I could not find on Ami, so that's why I'm using Solaris. This one I think it was just kind of, when it previewed for pre-order, it kind of just, back in 2017, it kind of just looked different than other Yomu figures or other Toho figures at the time, and we're kind of starved for good Toho figures back in 2017. I think that's after the period where Griffin Enterprise, we started realizing that Griffin Enterprise was pretty crappy, and we were kind of waiting for other companies to start doing figure. And so this is one, Embrace Japan. I haven't heard of them since. I still do like the look of this, and I'm pretty sure you can find it better than $756. I did see when I went on My Gift Free Collection that some people were selling it for like $200. I just think it looks really cool. I like how like different it is. It doesn't look like cutesy anime Yomu. It's kind of, and her little ghost that's with her looks completely different than usually do. Usually he's kind of portrayed as cute, but I love it. I love the swords. They look great for a figure from 2017. Just like how weird her proportions are was cool at the time. Stan sucks, but like, yeah, cool Yomu figure. Alright, next, this one's a little famous, was this Sakura giant, I don't know what you would want to call that, like, this Sakura figure was super big when it came out. I remember I was in Japan when this figure was previewed or was being previewed, and there's big banners in Akihabara by like the gamers and stuff showing this figure, and I was like, oh damn, I need this Sakura figure really badly. And over time that want has kind of faded, as I did hear it's like has some issues with stability, but so I don't know what the real price of this would look like in mint condition, maybe 3,500 yen. Who knows? But yeah, September 2017. So this would have been previewed during my 2016 trip to Japan. Yeah, it's great. I like what they went for. There's a few good Sakura figures. I don't think she's starved for good figures. Some of them maybe need some updating. I would like to maybe see a new take on her. But I think this one is great. The dress is beautiful. I love the ribbons, and I love the whatever you want to call the contraption. Anyways, yeah, let's move on. So, I have kind of like a Baka Monogatari section. I think what Good Smile did with the Monogatari figures back in, what year is this? 2014. Whew. So 10 years ago now. So what they did with these figures 10 years ago was above the curve. They kind of, figures at the time were just not as dynamic. It was a lot of just like pose, stand, maybe one or two props. But the Good Smile Monogatari line just did a lot. The faces and the sculpts are not up to the standard of today's figures, as you can see. But there's just something about them that made them stand out at the time. And I want to say these figures were pretty expensive when they came out, even though they're 1/8. And you can see the whole line of them there. I'm going to talk about a few more, but all the girls got one. Something about Tsukihi, even though it's a character I do not care for, particular from the Monogatari franchise. Hers is just really cool. Her being on the jungle gym with all the masks and the whirligig, which is what this thing is called, I believe. It was just cool, and I almost bought this figure like 3 times. I remember being at a store in Kanazawa at a book off, and I saw it in 2016, so that had been 2 years after it came out, and I think it was like probably $200 after Canadian conversion then, and I didn't jump on it, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it's awkward. But these Monogatari figures just were ahead of the time. Like, I like the Senjuko Hara right here. You can see that her face is not amazing, and the sculpt on the hair and the clothing are just not up to their standard. But the dynamicness of like all of the school supplies falling out of her skirt, just super cool. And I still think it looks pretty good. It just, maybe we can get some better Senjuko Hara figures one day, but for the time, this was really, really good. And I'm a huge Senjuko Hara fan. I think there's a lot of good characters in Monogatari, but she's pretty high up there for me. I think she's my favorite character in Monogatari to this day. Yeah, and if you look, you can see a bunch of pre-owns that you can get here, but they all have some kind of asterisk condition C classic figure, which I got at back time. But again, these figures at the beginning, I'm not going to go buy them because they're just kind of outdated. But I think they're worth mentioning. This is another one. This one's not it's probably a bit later. It's 2015, only a year later. I really like this character in Nana's Buried Treasure, which is like a kind of underrated show. I don't think it's amazing, but I had a lot of fun with it at the time. Tensai, he's just kind of my ideal anime character. She's like the smug idiot, I want to say, who thinks she's smarter than she is, but can be actually pretty clever at some points. I thought she was pretty funny. I thought she was pretty cute. But this figure is famous for just being terribly brittle, and you can see, oh sorry, I didn't mean to highlight right here, the material used for this figure is brittle in nature, and there's a very high probability that several parts will break or be damaged during shipping to you. So they're just telling you not to buy it because it's just, the stability of it is too bad. But I would, if there's some way I can get this in a way where I can guarantee that it just ends up in a cabinet and never moves for the rest of its life, and I can just look at Tensai that way, that would be great. But I'm not taking a $100 or $200 gamble on her. Who knows what price she even sells at. I have not seen 1,300 yen, but who knows if that's what should actually sell at. But I'm not ready to take that gamble, so I'm going to put this one on the list of holy grails that I'm no longer seeking. And this one is a very famous. This is the one where I just, every time I went to Japan, I would look for it, and it'd always be like $300, $200, $400. And the box is pretty big for figure boxes at the time, so shipping it back would be so expensive. But now I actually found a few people selling it on my figure collection for about $100, even less. Seems like people just kind of want to get rid of it. Again, I think this figure was a little bit ahead of the curve in how dynamic it is. I liked this character a lot back in 2013. I like the bike. I like our bike shorts. I've always just liked this character's design. I think it looks really cool. It was an Alter figure, so during this era, Alter was like uncontested the best figure company. I don't know if that's something. Well, I guess some people could say Good Smile, but yeah, I'm gonna say definitely Alter. I don't know if that's true today. I think they've kind of maybe slowed down being the best, but maybe I don't know who to say now. I like Flare a lot. Q's Q has gotten a lot better than it used to be, but yeah, the Amane Kuzaha from Steins Gate, great figure. Don't want it anymore. I think it would be kind of awkward in the space it takes up. But if I saw it for maybe like $50, I might consider it just for like nostalgic reasons. This one's really recent. It's just a figure I canceled this year. I canceled it a couple weeks ago. I've always wanted a B-Style. I don't know why. I think I just the allure of owning a figure that's big. So I like Nagatoro. I like B-Style, so I ordered a Nagatoro B-Style. And then as it got closer to release, how much I had to pay was not going to be 33,000 yen. It was probably going to end up being like $500 due to customs and the box that's going in. And I had a bunch of other figures coming out at the same time, so I decided to cancel it. But I still want this Nagatoro figure one day. I do think it's a little sleazy. Not that the Nagatoro show is not completely unsleazy, but I think not to this degree. Still, I think it's cute. It's one of the better B-Styles. I think my ultimate holy grail B-Style would be Nazuna from Call of the Night. They didn't do any for Dagashi Kashi, so I don't think it's going to happen for Nazuna, but I say I'll be there day one, but that price just always keeps me away from the B-Styles. And the amount of economy they take in your figure, like, I had a whole section of my detail, or whatever they're called now, reserved for Nagatoro, but I'll just put something else there. I'm going to move stuff around when I get my new figures. Alright, next is Marnie and Morpeko, or I think she's just called Marie in Japan without the N. I kind of want her an Android too, but I just like Marnie stuff. She's been, in my experience, a little bit more expensive than 1,400 yen. I've seen kind of like 200, 250, which is more than I want to pay for what is pretty close to a Pop-Up Parade quality figure. But I really like Marnie. Pokemon doesn't quite get the figures I want for the girls. I think eventually I will just get this because I like Marnie that much. But I would like actually a figure built around her design from the gacha game. I can't remember the name. Not Pokemon Go. The other gacha game is called like Pokemon Masters or something. She's had some really good like alternate designs there. I'd love to see those as figures. Anyways, next. Alright, this is kind of like the holiest of holy grails. This is pre-owned item A, box B, so that's pretty close to perfect. But that's still not perfect, and I kind of want it just perfect. So that price probably climbs to 7,200 yen, at 72,000 yen at the least. I didn't want this figure when it came out because the running price was a little bit expensive. I can't remember how much. It was 34,980, and I didn't know how much I liked the base, everything going on. But then I saw this in real life at the Ami store in Radio Kaikon in Akihabara, and I realized I'd made a mistake because this figure is probably the best Flandre figure ever made. It sucks to say that. I have a Flandre figure I really like back there by Q's Q or something. It's one of the more cutesy ones. But no, this figure is just impeccable. Maybe the images on screen don't do it justice, but when I saw it in person, it looks so damn good. And I really want it for my Flandre collection. Flandre is like my second favorite anime character of all time. I will buy figures of her forever, but I can't. This is going to cost me like $1,000 after everything is said and done. If I change this to CAD, $649.11, and then the shipping, maybe I can get away with $800 after shipping, but that's just not an expense I can spend on figures right now. But one day I will have this figure. Hopefully it gets re-released, because Griffin loves to re-release their, or Alter loves to re-release their stuff until they're not worth anything anymore, but hopefully. And on that thing, I also think Remy looks equally as good. I like Flandre more than Remy, but I usually buy both of them because they need to be together. So yeah, just included this as a secondary. Alright, so this is another figure I had pre-ordered, but had cancelled it. Let's see when it was. 2022. I've been really obsessed with this song during COVID, and then the figure came out, and I wanted it. But I can't remember exactly why I canceled it. Probably financial reasons, or maybe some other figures coming out around the same time. But I think it maybe got delayed a bit, and then we decided to cancel it after it got delayed a bit. But I love this. I love this design. I know it's very loud, but I like the song so much that I just attribute it to the song. I like the stand with all the onomatopoeia. It's a very cute Miku. I like the colors of her in her hair. Great. It's a good price. I can see myself picking this one up in the future if I see it. So this is a holy grail that I think I will own one day, but just running into a specific, like trying to run into this into the wild. Orders are closed right now. There's no pre-sale ones when there's like so many Miku figures, right? Maybe one day. This is another Miku figure that I just kind of looked at when I was looking for, trying to remember the name of the last one, but this is one of the cutest Mikus I've seen. It's very, very, very cute. That's all pretty much. I would like to own this one. I have no idea what the price looks like. Oh my god, 4,300 yen. But yeah, this one came out recently, so I don't think it's out of the question of being re-released. So, but very cute. I love the cake and the plate and everything going on, the giant fork. Alright, so this is back to that Monogatari line. I kept it separate because this is kind of a Shinobu section. This is Shinobu before we even kind of knew what her personality was. I want to say back in 2012, we quite hadn't, I don't want to misspeak, but maybe we didn't know what Shinobu's personality was at that point. Maybe we didn't know about Kiss Shot. So this was just the Shinobu who sits in Oshino's abandoned school or whatever that he sits in eating donuts. That was that version of Shinobu. And this was one of the Monogatari figures I wanted the most. I want to say I used to do this thing with this guy where I didn't have a credit card at the time, so like I would pre-order stuff with him and then I would pay him in real money so that he could use his credit card to buy me figures, and we would like meet up in exchange and to get my figures because that's how desperate I was. But I want to say this is one of the ones, I know for sure I had a Toho one that we canceled, and this might have been the other one I canceled back in the day, but yeah, I still think this one's pretty good. It helps that it's very zoomed in, so the sculpt is not as noticeably like weird as like Senjugahara or Ian Tsukihi. So I think this is one of the best of the original line that you can see down here. You see some of them actually. You can see Senjugahara, but another cute Shinobu is the Kiss Shot 12-year-old version. This is done in the style of Kizu Monogatari, which, if you haven't seen, is kind of different than the rest of the Monogatari, and they're also incredible. But I just like how it's looked. It reminds me of Dance in the Vampire Bund, but a little bit more a little bit more tasteful. I don't like the blood effect on the base, but I just think she looks very elegant, and I would love this figure at some point. Then we have the final evolution of Shinobu, of the fully aged up Kiss Shot, with the torn stockings. Kiss Shot laying down. I think she's like has a heart in her hand. It's really, really, really cool. Shinobu is just such a cool character in general, and I would love to own this one day. So next up we have Elizabeth Bathory from Fate Grand Order. This is a few different Elizabeth Bathories I've almost bought throughout the years. Kind of like the basic one that came out first, where she's just wearing her typical uniform, and then the other ones, the other like different versions of her that came out. But I think I like the Halloween one the most. And I still would like an Elizabeth Bathory figure. I just think her design is really cool. I like the story behind the real person. I find it very interesting. Like, one of the Fate likes to teach you about history. And Elizabeth Bathory was quite the horrendous person, if you care to look it up. But I love the stupid wide pumpkin looking skirt. I love her giant magician's hat. I love her tail. I just love everything about Elizabeth Bathory. I hope she gets more figures in the future. I don't know when's the last time she had like a new version in Fate, besides I think she was a mech at one point. But yeah, this is Flare. I like Flare. Yeah, I want this figure done. This figure's not out of the question. I bet you I can find this for a decent price. Alright. Another character I have quite the history with is Kotori Minami from Love Live. I have a section of her on my figures to the left. And I kind of just wanted to round out that collection. She's not even my favorite Love Live anymore. That's now gone to Yu Takasaki, which I just have standing next to me here. You know, you just want to this is one of the only like, scales I didn't have of her, and I'd like to round out my collection and replace some of the prize figures that I have in that section with her and put them into storage, just so it's all scales. And this is an altar one. It's not the best Kotori altar one. That one's also over there, but it's still very pretty. Next, I'm going to talk about some characters who I might own figures of, or I don't own figures of, but they just kind of never got good figures. So yeah, first is Evangelina. Maybe my editor can put up a better image of her because it's so small. But there we go. Obviously, this looks quite bad. What is this from 2000? Let's take a guess here. 2005, 2006. Yeah, Negima's really old, and she's kind of the original like blonde, sassy vampire that I liked. I'd like to see her get a good figure, especially because she was a new Q holder too. But Negima just never got good figures. It just wasn't the time for figures, and I guess some licensing deal was never met. So yeah, hoping Evangeline gets a good figure one day, but I'm not super sure on that one. Next is Suika. I own this figure right here, and it's all its ugly glory. Suika Ibuki is one of my favorite Toho characters. She's definitely my top 10. And I would just like a better figure of her so I can put away this Griffin figure. I know I like to harp on Griffin a lot, but I own so many Griffin figures and I just don't want them anymore. They're just so ugly. It was fine for the 2012. No, compared to the Good Smile figures coming out, this is not acceptable. So it wasn't even good for the time. I'm not even gonna lie to myself and say that. Let's move on. Suiginto from Rosemaiden. This is a Flare figure that came out 2 years ago. It's not bad, but Suiginto really deserves a better figure. She's a great character. There's a lot you can do with her design. She hasn't quite. This is not the Suiginto figure I want. I want something much more dynamic and majestic. I'm really hoping that she gets a super good figure one day that really gives me the Doki Dokis, which I want to buy immediately. It's one of my favorite villains ever. Yep. But that's a lot of nostalgia talking. Okay, next is Satania Kurumizu McDowell from Gabriel Dropout. I own this figure too. It's back there somewhere. I don't think it's very good. It's alright, but I'm hoping she gets a better figure one day. I wouldn't even mind just a figure of her in her school outfit that she wears, or her with her stupid gun. But it's been 2 years since we got a Gabriel Dropout figure, being this one. I'm not holding my breath unless we get another season of the anime somehow. Also not holding my breath. I bought this because I'm a big Satania fan, but she's a perfect gremlin energy type character. Yeah, hope she gets more figures and hope they're better than this one. Alright, and last, I just put this here as a placeholder for Farina from Genshin Impact. I know Genshin is doesn't release a lot of merchandise when it comes to figures. They don't have like a lot of, I guess, merchandising brands. I guess we'll search for Genshin Impact, and then we search by Bisojo figure. We only got 27 results. So out of this game's 4-year runtime, we've gotten like a Klee, a Mona, a Lumine, a Kaching, I guess an Ayaka, a Ningguang, a Barbara. I guess this Hu Tao, which I kind of like this Hu Tao. Maybe add this to my Holy Grail because I really like Hu Tao. We just haven't really gotten a lot of figures. Like, I think for Genshin, just looking in general, I think the latest we have here is Ayaka, and Ayaka was kind of like teased earlier than when she came out, so we knew about her before Inazuma came out. So let's say we have basically nothing from Inazuma forward besides this little Raiden. Is that Raiden Shogun? Yeah. And yeah, so we have no Sumeru characters. We have no Natlan characters. We have no Fontaine characters as figures. We just have Liyue and Mondstadt and Ayaka. Yeah, that's quite disappointing. I don't know why they're not. It's just something about Genshin where they don't get figures in a timely manner. I think this Ningguang is, I can't pronounce that one by the way, is really good. It's probably the best of them, but we're just not getting them at a timely rate, and I think they're kind of missing the boat because Genshin's dying, as all the kids say. But one day, hopefully I get Furina figure. Completely fallen in love with Furina recently, and I really want a figure of her. I would basically buy anything, no matter how bad it is. But it's what we got right now. Anyways, thanks for coming to the channel. This is just kind of a intermediary video before we do the October review. This might be coming out a bit later. Yeah, I got some figures that will come out. I'm going on vacation soon, but I have some figures that will come in the meantime. I'm getting a Rice Shower Halloween scale. I'm getting, maybe the editor could put that on screen, I'm getting a Yuta Kasaki scale. I'll be doing some openings of some pop-up parades we've gotten. But yeah, thanks for coming out and have a great day.